Hello, guys. This is the first episode of me and Patrick that we are doing. So, Patrick is a coach in Germany. I am from Cyprus, but I have moved in US. So we are kind of in different places on Earth, and we decided to do that to get to know us, see what both of us are into, and maybe you can learn a thing or two from us as well. Um,
Mm.
I am
So
a
we're
posing coach and a physique coach, and is my coach as well. So now, Patrick, you can introduce yourself as well.
yeah, good timing. Um, you said the most important stuff. I think in first place, I'm a coach, and I always was a coach. Because in my opinion, helping people to achieve their stuff was for me always more pleasuring than just doing my sport. I always did it in the background, and I'm still an athlete in heart, like you could say. Um, but it's something I'm doing anyway and doesn't affect my work or how much I put effort into my work because as you can see, sleep is not my most favorite thing. And I seem to see you're not sleeping too much as well because you're on prep, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Um, I'm doing that probably. I always say I do it for 12 years or something, but I think that was like 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm not 20 anymore. I'm doing that for kind of some time. Mostly working with athletes in any sport, from football to soccer to basketball to just see if people had like injuries to get them back to their performance where they were, if we had like performance problems where we can improve and do and also working with lifestyle clients when they had like problems or want to achieve like also like goals. And in the last years, also because of my wife, we I did more and more into bodybuilding, and yeah, the rest I would say in I skipped every different sport out of my coaching in probably like 2 years, and just did only bodybuilding because that was like catched me so much that I had no intention to do other sports for at least quite some time. I'm diving more into other sports at the moment for some things, but maybe we can talk about that later.
How did you decide to like leave all the other sports and going more on bodybuilding? What was the like if we take Andrea out of it, like what made you fall in love more with bodybuilding instead of the other sports?
I felt in love with bodybuilding I think probably around with 15, where because I my father had like a really big Arnold book with all the people and posing and training stuff in it. That's where I started bodybuilding probably already, but in that time I also did like powerlifting stuff and other weightlifting stuff and did like so much. I probably did every sport you could imagine just to because if it's related to movement. I'm addicted, kind of. I don't know, like, and if I'm not good in something, I want to get better in something. And if I'm like really, if I'm better in some stuff that you are, I think I can maybe take it further and
Yeah.
you need to catch up more
Expand
to
more. Yeah.
expand more. And this is something I probably got addicted to and what I'm doing all my life. But the thing is, I need to. Bodybuilding is a tool for me where I could do all the stuff important for my life and for the life of my athletes that help them improve in, I think, every aspect, you know? Like they wanted to get on stage. They started to get in routines. They needed to care about their health, about their supplements, about their food, about their training. They needed to reflect all of that more. What I'm doing here, I need to improve here, and I need to improve there. Or we have financial issues. I cannot do my prep anymore. I need to do this or that. Because I cannot do the shows. Maybe I want to do. How can I improve financially to do stuff more? Because that's also important. They need to improve their self mentally. I think you can say you need to do it as an athlete, you need to do it in a high performance level, you need to do it in every sport. But bodybuilding combined in a nice lifestyle, I liked so much that I want to show that everyone that it's such a cool sport because no one is really thinking bodybuilding is a sport sometimes because it's still like say it's like a show to watch, but it's not like other sports. But they are doing everything every other athlete is doing as well, or at least can do to like really improve, like checking every box and I think it's more complex than people think that just picking up weights and moving weights, because it's way more behind it if you wanted to take it to like a really extreme level.
Yeah, I think bodybuilding it's not just a sport, it's a way of life because it can teach you and change you in all the in every aspect of your life, even if that like it's a growth of the mind, even if that is a growth in the gym. And this is what I think people misunderstood and how a lot of things nowadays, especially with social media, how everything can be misunderstood and like if you see kids now, they just go to gym to just lift weights. But that's not the whole point. It's not just to move a weight from the point
What
A
was your
to B.
first point to go to the gym? Be honest. Yeah.
My when I started, bro, I
Yeah.
started 8 years ago, and I wanted to change my life from the very first because, like, for me, from the first day that I stepped in the gym, I quit smoking. I was a heavy drinker as well, and I quit drinking as well. I started following a nutrition plan and training, like in a day. I quit every bad habit that I had, and I just followed that thing. And I felt with it when I started seeing the change because I was always that thin kid that everyone was making fun of. And when I started seeing my body changing, I was like, holy fuck, yeah, I can do that. And then I fall in love with posing, like how you show your body, how to combine, how to express your feelings. Those things is what kept me into it.
I needed bodybuilding to fell in love with posing also because like dancing in the past was nothing I would do ever. You know, I
Really?
was, yeah, I was not a person that I thought other people could maybe laugh, you know, how it looked because this is completely bullshit. But I thought if I would dance, it needed to be like fucking good because all the other stuff I wanted to do was also perfect or
Mm-hmm.
I do it until I can do it perfect for myself because I don't wanted to. I wanted to. I don't know, but when I was a child, I wanted to also to impress my dad and stuff like this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then you like push all the things a lot to just impress people because you want to get attention, and performance was every everything I understand it to get that, you know, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's but I fell in love later with bodybuilding. I started with weights to just look good naked, probably with
yeah.
15 or 16. But I already did like 10 years of sport at that time. I started probably I think of around 4 or 5 while I doing gymnastics and soccer and ping pong stuff, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
like just for fun. And I think Wing Chun, so some kind of martial arts stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and so everything I could do on my free time while not being in school was like sport,
Yeah, I
always.
was I was doing a lot of sports as well, but I think when I went for my studies, and because in Cyprus we have 2 years of like we need to go for 2 years in the army, and that is mandatory. Like we need to go. So those 2 years is where my life basically from I was playing basketball, I was dancing, I was doing martial arts, and when I went to the army, bro, everything went like the different way. Like I didn't work out at all. I was smoking, I was drinking. Then I went to the university to study, and I was sleeping at 3:30 in the morning and wake up at 8. I was working until late. Then I needed to study, and I was studying while drinking. Like,
First time you get introduced to life and it was like fucking hard, you know? And the
yeah,
first thing you need
man.
to start is like drinking and smoking to get through that shit. Um, you don't need to go to the army anymore in Germany, but in when I was 18, you need to decide you need to do go to the army or do something here for helping people and do other stuff. And I decided to do that for like 1 year to don't
Mhm.
need to go to the army. But it's not because don't wanted to go there. It was like it was super far away. You don't have any people there, and they thought I had some kidney issues, why they don't wanted me in the army. Okay, fine, but they checked that and that everything was okay. Like I was fucking eating only way too much protein in the past, like because I thought like protein is the only way, like 500 or 600 grams of protein, like powder and food and everything, and my kidney didn't like that so much, and when I
Yeah.
stopped that it got better really fast. And they checked that and everything is okay, and they said you can go to the army, but they already decided that they don't want me into it, so I did something else, you know. I'm lucky in that point, but also like shift. I needed to work in shifts already, like as 18 after school shifts. I worked like 50 hours a week. And after 1 year, I was like completely broke. I hated life, bro.
Yeah, bro. I wish we had that in Cyprus, like, to choose. Because for us, they say when you're done from school, before you're going for your studies, you need to go to the army. And it's like now it's way less, but when I went in, we had to do 2 years. So imagine you are losing like the two best years of your life, like 18, 19, and 20 years old until you get out. And bro, that was shit. That was shit.
So now we kind of introduce ourselves a bit, and the people know already that we can any topic probably we can dive like 1 hour into it if it makes sense or is intriguing. Doesn't matter, but that can happen.
Yeah.
So, but the podcast's idea started more because we wanted to talk about training, posing, but also about like really basic shit that people, in our opinion, probably neglect or forget sometimes. And you have stuff you learned in your prep as well. We wanted to share a bit, and maybe we can start with
Yeah.
some topic you can choose.
So what this podcast I wanted to be more is for people to see the different sides of bodybuilding. Like even if it's lifestyle, what are the things you can get from it? Because I know that you have lived, like in your life, you have had moments that I think both of us that we felt like stuck in a point in our life, but from a lot of things like that you learned from bodybuilding helped you out of it. So I want to show the world that how training, posing, nutrition,
Routines, health,
those are not only the aspects of being a bodybuilder. There are a
that is
lot,
bodybuilding.
yeah, there
Give
are
me a second, my webcam like just crashed, but I'm still here. Yeah, that can happen, but that we can fix probably in a second. That should be not a problem.
no worries, no worries. So yeah, that's why I wanted for us to do the podcast because I can, like when we talk, because yeah, something that we didn't say, Patrick is my coach for the past 8 months now, seven
Yeah,
or 8 months, I think.
yeah.
And like with Patrick, we had a connection from the first call that we did. Like the first call should be like 15 minutes, and we were on the call for a half, 1.5 hour.
Yeah, at least 1.5 hours, like just talking about bodybuilding shit.
Yeah, and that's why like we connected immediately. So that's why we decided with Patrick to do this podcast, like to show how bodybuilding can connect people. And there are a lot of people that say bodybuilding is an individual sport, but in reality, it's not, because you need to have people around you. And as a coach, like people think that because you're a coach, it's not necessary to have a coach, but in reality, you need a coach. Everyone needs a coach.
The first thing you need is you don't need a coach.
Yeah,
You
but
need like
people
the
think
best thing for bodybuilding for me, to be honest, was my wife prepping all the food and that stuff. Yeah, that's the first thing you need. The best coach you can get is someone prepping your food. And after that, you need a coach helping you in bodybuilding.
that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
every person you see when they do bodybuilding alone and find people around themselves that doing bodybuilding as well. And if it's a partner, or like just friends doing the hobby with you, just makes it more fun, to be honest. And
Yeah.
if it's more fun, you're putting more energy into it. And the probably the most thing I love about bodybuilding is if you put more energy into bodybuilding, you always get something out of it, or you learn something out of it. And as you said, you can use that anywhere probably in life if you can reflect on that learning.
For my first prep, like bro, I only had hair, and like who got me into bodybuilding? It was my best friend at the time, who the guy was he was a bodybuilder as well. And
Hmm.
I was helping him like with everything for his prep. But when my time was up, bro, he didn't even call me to see if I'm all right, if I am good, if I am doing fine, like mentally, nothing. And that's a moment when I realized not everyone will be there for you. Like, that's why there are things that when I speak with people when they are on prep and I tell them, bro, whatever you need, just send me a message. I'm here for you. And it's those words that people need to keep them pushing, you know?
I think it's depending also, but on the coach.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
that's true.
you think that's something you want to see a coach do, so you're doing it in your coaching as well. But to be honest, depending on how you specialize, do you
Hmm.
do mental stuff in your coaching? But you're not learned it in a study to help people mentally, you know?
Hmm.
We can just like help people to I always say it's like you're a consultant. You're looking in you're sitting on a chair here and the person is living his life and you just watch what he does and trying to look with him what is the best next decision in life we want to do to achieve that goal, depending in every decision of the life, is mostly what coaches should do. And this can be specialized in many different directions, you know, depending on what coach you are. And if you're like in training and PD stuff and all the stuff, super good, is the question, do you have the time if you put so much effort into this direction with your athlete? Do you have the time to support them mentally so much if you like, depending on how many athletes your clients you have, you know? Um, because first of all, people should care of their mental health for themselves, and if they don't, can the coach should be not the first one to help there. Yeah, you should go probably to a doctor, speak to a therapist, and
Hmm.
talk to about your problems. And also there, you can change stuff to improve in life. You know, not
Yeah.
only physically, also mentally. And this will, and a- as you already know, and this is why you're probably doing it. When people change mentally, they change physically as well.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
you see it all the time. And it needed to be done because if the people stuck in life anywhere, they stuck sometimes also in evolving some parts of where they think they everything is growing just fine by my arms just suck, you know? And you think it's genetics, but sometimes it's not. It's fucking not because you're just doing it not right. But you're so into one direction sometimes that in life, and this is why it's reflecting also in your
Yeah.
training.
So that, and with what you said with the arms, bro, like in the past, I grow everywhere, but my arms was the most stuck part on me. And I remember, like, when we were talking, I told you, like, bro, my arms can't get bigger. Like, bro, I gave up. Like, my arms will stay small. And you told me, like, bro, let's do this different, and let's see how they respond. And bro, they responded really well.
And to be honest, you're, in my opinion, and then if we can talk about posture and coordination stuff and stability and how mind muscle connection and all the shit like is get putting together, you're probably at 40% where I want to get you.
Yeah, we still have improvements to do, like on everything.
And the finishing, the 60% is not like because it's so much you're doing wrong because it's like super much small pieces and all the time you are doing sports and other stuff like you're carrying around for a long time, and we need to fix all the basic shit to get everything together, and then like every small part of get is getting fixed, as you know, is giving sometimes like 30% more performance, and you think, holy
Mhm.
fuck, bro, what happened in the last two technique switches? Why training feels so different now? And you're using sometimes less weight, and execution got better, and you did that like probably in arms a lot of times to wanted to start growing them. But sometimes you're doing small stuff so fucking wrong because the basic stuff is in life just normal for you. And the normal you picked up and the basic you put into the sport is not the optimum you want to start a sport with. Because it's like you want to drive a car and you say, I want to fucking race with that car, but you just have three wheels. And
Y-
that's probably not the best point to start a race. Maybe you buy a fourth one first and tie it good, and then you start the race.
Yeah,
And that's the biggest problem in I think kind of any athlete has. And the problem is bodybuilding is mostly nothing you start with 10 or earlier. When you like get like learn all the basic coordination stuff, you start with different kind of sports and you get injuries sometimes there, or you adjust to that sport, and this base you bring into bodybuilding. Problem is that the base is not always so good for what we want to do now because it's a different kind of sport, you know. And I think this is the stuff I want to talk mostly about if we talk about posture and stuff like this.
yeah, that was going to be my question. Like for you, what do you think are the most important aspects for training? Like, how do you assess something or to have it as the best technique of an exercise?
Um, First of all, when we know nothing, we start where it's very clever like to watch what people do that are doing it great already. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think we are already today we are in a point where we know a lot about training routines, techniques, how the movement should go, which muscle should be included. And we are now we're in the physiotherapy and stuff like this and biomechanics. We are like our our knowledge is very good. So why not using this, to start somewhere because we don't know nothing about it yet, okay? And that, but then we need to, as everything theory and doing it is something that you need to experience because all the rules or all the knowledge you learned, you need to now apply on your system. And yeah, every system is kind of the same, and this is the base we start from to and learn a basic technique we think should be a good pattern. Um, but then we need to watch like how I can apply it in your system, where we get any problems, because you will get, while we're pushing performance on a basic pattern, you will probably maybe, or you maybe get problems. Oh, the knee is itching here sometimes. The legs are not growing. I don't feel that movement so much. You know, all the stuff that I feel that in my back. I'm only my ass is growing, but my quads look like shit. Or in my opinion, it's more my ass and my adductor that didn't like to grow for a fucking long time. And I was always a person that never thought about genetics. I always thought if it's not doing what I want, then I'm doing something wrong. And as doing sports for a long time, you can do something wrong for a really really long time and thinking it's really good. Because like I squatted around, I would say I'm not super strong, but I was always like a really light person, and I was probably around 80 kilos or something when I think I could deadlift to 60 after 8 months of like heavy training, and over 200 I squatted, but my legs looked like shit, you know? They didn't respond at all, but I was like fucking strong. And I was like watching people doing that shit with way less weight, and I still I always felt that I'm still stuck somewhere and I'm still doing something wrong. That because I always felt I could be still way stronger, and I could feel it way better, but I never catched the problems why it never happened. Because I was always doing good technique, I was always controlling my weight, I was never fucking around. Never ever. But my posture was kind of fucked up from all the injuries and from all the gaming in the past when I was a teenager, sitting around like this, all the time. And um, my hip got fucked up with soccer a lot because, like, yeah, for sure, we like doing all my stuff on the right leg, and in my free time, I'm right-handed, so I'm doing most of the stuff here, and in all the time many is like small mistakes started to manipulate my system, I would say. And you need to work all the stuff out, in my opinion, to get the response or the base. You had to have the perfect base to then decide, do I have really fucked up genetics? Because I'm now really know that I'm really doing everything perfectly right. And if my legs don't respond, fuck it, then don't train legs. Then we start and then I'm doing a sport where I don't need that maybe, Then I'm
Yeah.
starting to do dancing or something else, or a sport where I don't need huge fucking big legs. But I always wanted huge fucking big legs. And also, I wanted to help my athletes to fix their problems. But to be honest, most of them, and that was my luck, came to, I have a really fucking back. I need to get more back. And this was the only thing that was like super easy for me. That is why you need to think about training back. I'm just grabbing it and feeling everything. Which part of your back is not growing? What you're doing wrong? But then you start like watching at people who train legs. And I mean people like who have like really great legs, and I think I have really good knowledge about training. And then you compare them to each other, and Then you look for small details, they are all doing the same, but their systems look different. But some points or some base is all the same, and the base that is the same is they nailed their basics to the perfection. And this is also stuff that did bodybuilders in the 90s and 2000 area very, very good. And I don't say people today cannot do it as well, but because of our daily routines and our daily life is also so different like than from 40, 50 years ago, our movement patterns and coordination patterns and how we look and how we look on ourselves and what we do is completely different than in the past. And I wanted to get to a base that's like when you say like when you're a child and you learn stuff super fast and you can go into the squat super deep without thinking because a child don't thinks about movement, they just do it. And I wanted to go back to that point. And that's fucking a long journey after over 20 years of doing every sport only on a high performance level. And on that route, you get rid of injuries and can help get people rid of injuries. And by experience and also naturally also by learning stuff while doing that job for so long, you watch always on smaller and smaller stuff because of if you have the chance to get athletes like Andrea, I would say, um, that are doing so much stuff so good just by nature, I would say. You need to look on the small shit to get her improvement. Or if you want to improve to get her glute better, you need to do watch on the super small stuff because it's already like super big, you know? But then you see if she improves that and that small basic helps everyone else that has no glute also. Because the basic you found is sometimes a basic no one is nailing. And sometimes it's posture, sometimes it's a coordination pattern, because you're not just not looking what you're doing. That's what you learn at the moment at benching. That's sometimes good when you look at what your hands do, and sometimes it's breathing patterns. It's what you think the movement should do or how the movement should feel. But I think now I talked too much already about it because I can talk probably 10 hours straight without breathing about it. So be careful and interrupt me when I dive too deep already. But maybe you can apply that already, maybe in tell me about what happened in the past months in your training. What did you learn in past months about your posing? What maybe can relate to that?